Hello, viewers, and welcome back to another episode of The Social Point. My name is Linus.
I'm Neerav. Firstly, I'd like to start off with the two of you stating one common stereotype of gender equality that you may hear often or a lot.
Oh, gender stereotypes. Well, one that comes to me very often is like how men and boys should always be assertive and strong and not cry or else they're weak, and things like women or girls are more sensitive and this and that. And I find that it's just not true at all. Linus, how about
I
you?
feel like a common stereotype is that um, girls and women shouldn't be playing video games, and video games and like the internet in general should be like more suitable for guys, which of course is absolutely not true. But I feel like that's a stereotype that has been perpetuated.
Well, yeah, I feel these stereotypes can be rather damaging in a sense. So, since society always likes to go out and set a lot of quote unquote common ideas about how we are expected, how we dress, we behave, present. But then, to be fair, all societies and cultures have some different kind of gender expectations, but I believe that sometimes it's taken way out of proportion, it's oversimplified, and it's not always accurate. And you know what really surprises me?
Mhm.
What is that?
The fact that that when I was planning out this episode to be talked about today, I didn't even realize on the recording day today's International Women's Day. So,
Well,
Happy International Women's Day.
well, happy International
Well,
Women's Day to any girls and women that are listening to this podcast from there. And I think it's definitely important because we need to be celebrating how far they have come in society. Since I feel some in certain places, women and girls are treated they're just treated down and they're just treated like they're not humans. And to that I say, why? They're still humans at the end of the day. So shouldn't they be having the right to speak up for themselves as well?
to be a part of modern society has been hindered by some traditionalist beliefs and biases that may cause inequality in these societies, especially in the development of modern technology, as well as the being able to use such technologies is really lacking in certain countries. I believe it was around a year ago was a woman driving legalized in Saudi Arabia, which I think is absolutely absurd, like how long it has taken just to allow women to like drive, which to many of us seems like something that both men and women should be allowed to do.
I see, and I think it's just shocking because a lot of girls that I've talked to, either some of them are straight up. They feel like they've been treated really unfairly. They're like a victim of, well, I won't say abuse, but then they're a victim of like shaming, and they're like, it's just painful for them. I would say I can't really feel for them, and that's mainly because I've never experienced it personally. But then I'm sure for them it's definitely much more difficult since they have to go through this all the time, and like it's like they're treated as animals almost.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes, as when even in Hong Kong, when you talk to the older generation, a lot of the times, this is from what I have noticed with my relatives, is that sometimes, for example, when girls try to do a lot of sports, a lot of the old people would tell them not to, as like they say that the girls would get too muscular and it would be unattractive to guys, which I think is traditionalist and like belief that shouldn't have any place in modern society. And yet, like even in places like Hong Kong, it's like these ideas still perpetuate.
Oh, I see. Nirav, do you have any experience with this kind
yes.
of thing?
I mean, like with sports, yeah, you see it a lot. Like if you watch international sports and stuff, like seeing the crowd when it's a men's game against a women's game, it's like completely insane. Like I'm gonna bring back cricket again, like every week, but
Of course.
yeah, sorry. Because I just watch a lot, like lots of examples. So basically, like I watch all the men's international games, especially if it has India's team in it. right? And there's always a big crowd. And recently, right, because of I forgot if it was the World T20 World Cup or was it just the World Cup? That Indian, not Indian, sorry, that the women's cricket games were also increasing in popularity. But like before that, the crowds at their stadium was nothing compared. Like it maybe be 20-30% or less, honestly.
Oh, that's quite bad. Hmm.
Like it's good that it's increasing now. People are they're starting to get more audience and stuff, but like just seeing how they had to deal with it in the past and had to like overcome it while we never really had to do anything. We just always had those audiences. Just yeah.
Because I think that what's a good way to phrase it? Oh yeah, from a young age, like we're as children, we're often separated into the boy group, the girl group, and we're told what society expects them to be. Like sometimes for me personally, for me, I can be very emotional sometimes, but I don't often show it, and that's mainly because to me, I've always found it to be like embarrassing in a sense, and I've never really wanted others to know. So
Yeah,
they say you shouldn't cry, you should act tough, you should be this and that.
I feel like society has just normalized like guys not showing their feelings and anything. Most like I don't think I think it also leads to a lot of mental problems as well because like they are they have been taught that like crying or like showing weakness like is embarrassing. And
I see. And I think we should also remember this. The United Nations Development Goal number 5 is all about ending all discrimination against women and girls and how it is crucial for sustainable futures. And just by looking at some statistics here, women are still not present in equal numbers in business or politics, and more than 12 million underage girls are married off age. That is a bit shocking. But then, yeah, the equal numbers in business and politics, I think we see that basically everywhere for the most part, except for some places. I think now that with that growing rise of more awareness towards the issue, there are more and more like social movements going out that call against better better equality and just better treatment of these individuals. And I think it's necessary to show because in a progressive society, as we slowly grow on, it's always going to be changing. I understand some people have very traditionalist beliefs, but sometimes I feel we can't always be holding on to them to a certain extent. The entire cultural belief thing is an entirely different discussion at hand, though.
So like another common stereotype that well I think most of us heard from very young is like what colors are addressed to boys and girls. Like boys would be commonly associated with blue and green, right? Whereas for sorry, for girls, their colors are red and pink, like, and they would name these like girly colors and manly colors from the start. Like this is from when we were childs. So like, if you hear like, yeah, so if you hear a guy maybe likes pink, back then you'd think that they were gay or some shit. Like, yeah,
Oh, well,
yeah, it would.
that's
I
good
feel
to
like
know.
you would get bullied if like you weren't like adhering to the social norm of like certain genders.
yeah. If you didn't agree with society's choice of colors for each gender, then other people they'd be on your ass about it. Like, um, yeah, they just be like, oh, why do you like this? Are you a girl? Like, and then just make fun of them. And honestly, it's not fair at all. Like, just because you prefer a color that society has associated with the opposite gender, you're just gonna be made fun of for that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, it's a bit brutal, and the thing is that is people I believe people should need to be more open, and like all that IB all that those IB learner profiles and stuff. But that aside, I think people in general just need to be more open in the regard to be able to set others for who they are. Like regardless if you agree with them, sometimes I feel it's a bit it's unavoidable because we need to be Because with the place we're in right now, 2020 and where we are now in 2021, my God, that was quite a mess. So don't you feel you need some more positive energy sometimes to be supporting those that are treated down?
Yeah, like I feel that by now, 2021, society is already changing in other ways, like not other ways, but like in other conditions, racism, sexism, and stuff. I just feel like these common stereotypes they also need to go away soon. And honestly, I think that we will achieve that soon enough by maybe 2030 or something. I think all of these problems will be possibly not gone away completely, but like there will be a difference made about it.
Ah, yeah, I don't think it's gonna be gone by any chance, but then I will say it will have lessened. And I
Yeah,
think
never
being
gone, but yeah. So
Yeah,
mm,
and I feel like the emancipation of women, like in general, for like our growing society, because we have so many problems these days. I feel like having women in those places where decisions are being made and solutions are being come up with is gonna really help. Because I bet they have a lot of women, and they have many ideas and solutions for the problems we're having right now. So as long as we can get women to these places where important decisions are made, I feel like a lot of the world's problems can be solved.
oh yeah, more diversity is definitely something we need. And I think, and from what and here's the interesting thing that I've found is says the advantages of being a woman artist, not working without the pressure of success, and then not being stuck in a tenor teaching position, and seeing your ideas live on in the work of others. And I think this is one that is quite more significant here, just because you see like people can feel a bit more good about themselves. Like some people, they talk themselves down all the time. Is it because they're a boy? Is it because they're a girl? And to make this clear, like despite being today being International Women's Day and us talking about like treatment of women and stuff like that, it's not just about them, obviously. And I think regardless of gender, we should all still be respected equally, despite everything that's been happening. Like respect is mutual and it goes both ways. You treat others well, and they will treat you back well. Generally speaking, there are a bunch of outliers, but that's
Holes of
a
this
different
world.
topic. So, is there anything more you guys want to add finally?
I mean, like at the end of the day, we're just we're three guys talking about like women's rights and like equality. So we might not have the best experiences or like ideas of like these problems. So these are just like what we have observed. Obviously, it's not gonna be perfect. It's not gonna tell the whole story. This is just from what we see and what we are trying like what we can speak of. But obviously, it's not gonna be perfect.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. We're just here to expressing our thoughts and things. We're not pretending to be woman ambassadors of any kind. We're just trying to like bring this more just bring this issue out more in a more lighthearted spin, rather than the negativity of social media that's everywhere. And if and anything else you want to say, Nira?
I think I'm done. Thanks.
All right then. So that's about it for today's episode of the Social Point. So of course, we hope that everyone is doing well, and once again, happy International Women's Day to all the women and girls out there, and for the boys out there. Don't feel discouraged at all, because nonetheless, regardless of gender, we should all be treated equally regardless of who we are. And that's it for us today, and we'll see you guys in another 2 weeks. So see ya.
Yes, yeah.